Welcome to Walking in Your Purpose. This is Thursday night at 8 with Linda Faith. It's time to discover the gift God has for you. I'm bringing awareness to what God has for you and the purpose behind your pain. If you have passion in your soul and a gift you haven't unleashed, well, let's talk about it. Having served in the United States Army for the last 18 years and continuing to serve as a servant leader to inspire, motivate, guide, and assist readily, I'm bringing a contemporary vibe to being happy and living your dream on purpose. Each week, I will introduce you to a life filled with purpose and how that purpose is being used to glorify God, describing the tips, resources, and strategy to set you up for success. So now, let's jump right in and discover the gift God has for you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chandra Gore, and I am a Lens of Faith. Tonight, we are talking about a topic that is hot in my view, because I have just joined the journey. So I'm excited to bring Brandon McCray on the line with me tonight as he goes through his journey to his Ph.D. Welcome to the show, Brandon. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Good. It is so good to have you on the show. And by the way, Brandon is one of my battle buddies, one of my signalers. We went to a course together at Fort Gordon, where I'm currently stationed at, and it has been a pleasure to know him and just watch his journey. I don't really know if he knows that people has been watching his journey, but they definitely are. And I remember him for being a comedian. Okay, so I thought I was gonna see him on Saturday Night Live, not on his journey to PhD. So he shocked me. Yes. Well, let me just tell y'all a little bit about Brandon. Brandon J.T. McCray is a doctoral learner at Capella University, majoring in a PhD in industrial and organizational psychology. He has earned his BSc in information technology management from American Military University and an MBA in project management, an MBA in healthcare management, and a master's certificate in IT management from the Florida Institute of Technology. He is now a certified project management professional, Scrum Master, and Lean Six Sigma Black Belt. That is a fantastic title, isn't it? You're doing something special over there. In addition to that, he's also a U.S. Army veteran. So thank you for your service. Who has taught AIT training to over 4,000 DoD students, which are troops at Fort Gordon Signal Center of Excellence. He has served 2 tours in Iraq and deployed to an Antarctica winter over expedition to manage IT personnel for the National Science Foundation. Brandon is setting out to redefine what it means for workers to develop a stronger, healthier sense of self, as well as access and understand their feelings to help balance a meaningful, authentic life. He inserts that into an industrial and organizational setting that leaders should focus on as individuals with potential, and stress the importance of growth and self-actualization for both their subordinates and themselves. So tackling really the importance of growth and self-actualization, which a lot of people are struggling with to this day. A lot of people don't know who they really are, so they struggle with where they want to go. So we're going to dive in and just hear what Brandon has to say about this spectacular topic. So as I want to tell you again, thank you for your service to this great nation. And you are no stranger to adversity, tough times, and conditions. So as a soldier, did you ever picture yourself where you are today?
Well, first of all, Sandra, thank you for having me on your show. Yeah, as a soldier, I always picture myself having like some sort of economic success, right? After all, that type of stuff is promised to you when you join the Army, right? And so long as you keep your nose clean considerably, you finish up your tours of duty, and you get your discharge paperwork, then you're off to do some successful things. So I did have an understanding I was going to reach some sort of economic success, but I didn't know that I'd be thinking at this level. I didn't know that my motivation was going to switch from financial goals to the self-actualization. I didn't really understand the impact of how my adversity and how my battle wounds, sort of say, was going to mold me into the person I am today, to be able to give back to the people in my inner circle.
Okay. So when you talk about self-actualization real quick, taking a deep dive into who you are, think back 5 or 10 years ago and think about the person that you were back then. How do you see yourself compared to back then to right now today, where you are in your journey?
Well, I remember when I had maybe about 6 years into the military, right? I was going to exit maybe somewhere around 2009. And I knew that I wasn't ready yet. I knew that I wasn't financially ready. I wasn't mentally ready. And I didn't really have an understanding of leadership, organizational culture, the concept of empathy and work motivation, right? I was just simply an IT practitioner that had some leadership experience, right? But I wasn't necessarily a leader that happened to be an experienced IT practitioner. So, in that time between those 6 years and the time moving forward to the recent 5 years, I haven't really made, I had an opportunity to make a lot of mistakes. I had an opportunity to learn how to storytell based off of those mistakes. I learned how to redefine my concepts of what discipline really is, and I had an opportunity to master patience. So, I say that to say that the tough times and adversity, it came in many shapes and forms going throughout, throughout the past 5 years and beyond. But I think that, I think that it was all for the good and for the greater good, so to say. So to clearly answer your question, I always imagined that God had a greater purpose for me. I didn't picture it the way it is today.
Right.
But I'm also thankful for His grace to be able to live through those experiences and strengthen my faith for whatever's next to come.
Well, let's talk about something you mentioned there. I caught that you said that you learned to master patience. How did you do that?
Antarctica helped. I was there for 8.5 months. It was 168 of us on a station, McMurdo Station, no bigger than the training area of Fort Gordon. And, it was a lot of just waiting. It was a lot of downtime. I mean, the sun went away for about 5.5 months or so. And at first, all I could think about was, I got to get to the next day. I can't wait for this deployment to be over. So in that time, I kind of just got to know myself. I had to figure out some ways to keep my mind busy and make good use of the time. So patience helped me a lot there. I also have a 13-year-old son. So his life growth his growth helps strengthen my patience. For anybody that has teenagers or young teenagers, they would know. And then also just being a goal-oriented individual, where sometimes things just kind of get in my way. It's kind of like having patience and having faith. I think they go hand in hand, because like I said before, I'm a goal-oriented person. And when I pursue something, I'm thinking about getting to the end of that goal. And when things used to get in my way, it would trouble me, right?
Right.
But then after a while, I found that, hey, if I claim something, if I put it out in the world that I want this, I don't necessarily have to know how it's going to happen. If I put it out in the world that I want this and it's something pure and it comes from my heart, I think that God is going to find a way to make it my reality. And I just, when they say let go and let God, or Jesus take the wheel,
I was gonna ask you, did you bring God into your perspective at all? I was waiting on that
Yeah.
alone to see, how do you utilize your faith when you're practicing patience? Because I gotta tell you, I was a very impatient person.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and I had to ask God to when you pray and ask God to give you patience, guess what? He's gonna take you through some situations where you gotta wait.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one of those things. It's just, when I pray, I say I want this and I want to do this, and it got to come from a good place. And I end up getting what I need, but I don't always get it right away. So I say to myself sometimes, well, if I'm not getting this now, what does God want me to do to train up for this? What do I have to be doing to train up for this? So it may come in the form of like doing some volunteer work or something like that. Something has to get my mind busy to where I feel like I'm contributing to that greater good. And somehow, way, shape, or form, the phenomena or the blessings and God, it just finds a way to meet me at my doorstep.
Amen. Amen to that. So your titles pretty much speak for themselves. You have accomplished a great deal of things during your journey, and I absolutely love it. I got to tell you, because when we look back over our lives and we say, what have we accomplished? You can look back and look at those titles and say, hey, this is the stuff that I've accomplished. This is the stuff that I've accomplished, and I'm proud of myself. There's not enough joy for the things that we accomplish ourselves. We beat ourselves up for so many things that we don't do, but look at everything you have already accomplished. Look at the places you've traveled, the things you've been able to do, that God has blessed you with the time here on earth to do it. So tell the listening audience who Brandon JT McCray is without the titles. Let's hear it.
Well, I'm just a person that loves to learn, right? I consider myself a Renaissance man. I love learning, absolutely love it. And I'm extremely energetic. So some people may think that this was just natural or that I'm a natural born leader, but I got to be honest. I'm not a natural born leader or anything like that. I just don't like being told what to do. And so with that, my leadership skills were not something, again, that I was born with, which what we would call nature. It's something that I actually had to cultivate and practice and nurturing, because I had to raise my hand and say, I'll do it, just to get out of somebody telling me what to do. I also align very strongly with the traits of a Leo. My birthday is July 28th. And so with that, I'm very passionate, or what some people will call stubborn, and I'm proud, which some people will call arrogant. But I'm a type of guy, I move to the beat of my own drum, and I like to consider myself a planet within the right of its own orbit. So, because of my quote unquote stubborn arrogance, as some will call it, I've learned not to be shy. I'm not embarrassed. I'm not afraid of failure. I'm a risk taker.
Are you confident? Consider yourself confident.
Yeah, confident. And I'm just a goal oriented. Like, I'm goal oriented, but the end of the goal is not, all the objectives towards reaching that goal is just not a means to an end for me. I appreciate every aspect of that journey.
Okay, so you left out the comedian part, because you know how to tell jokes. And I saw you doing stand-up, so let's hear it. Tell me some jokes. I want to hear some right now.
Well, maybe I'll give you a joke here or there. But the funny thing about that is I wanted to join Toastmasters, right? And I was looking online, and Toastmasters class, I think it was somewhere around $400, $1,200 or something like that. Where I was working at the time, they were offering the class to a select few people, but and I wasn't selected to be a part of the Toastmasters class. It was, and I'm the type, I say, I'm not going to ask anybody permission. I'm not going to do that. So rather than pay the money to go to Toastmasters, I found that it was cheaper to go to these comedy classes that they were doing at the Improv, and I said, I'll do that instead. So I just really wanted to, learn some motivational speaking or some, some engagement and public speaking. And I just went for it and wrote some jokes, and, it kind of worked out.
Please unmute your phone first.
I hear you.
Sorry about that.
So I just started my journey, and you know what? I was afraid to do it. And I said, you know what, God, if it's for me, I'll be able to do it. If it's not, then, show me what it is that you have for me to do. And I prayed on that thing, and lo and behold, some just told me to reach out to my counselor and say, I'm ready. Yeah. And I was like, am I really ready? And she said, look, this how you know that you're going to be ready. She said, I need you to do a letter of intent because you can't get into school without it. So I said, I don't know what to write. And so I sat down at my chair at my laptop, and I just started writing, my reason why I deserve to be a part of the doctoral program. And I thought to myself, I said, I do really well in organizational leadership. I suck at math. I absolutely hate math. Anybody who knows me knows that I hate math. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to do the psychology doctoral degree. I'll do the educational degree. And I think I got this thing, so I am stepping out by faith with God, holding my hand to say, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So, and when I saw you were doing it and you were all into your videos and everything, I'm like, look at him. If he can do it, I know I can do it. That is what inspires people. What if you never started doing those Journey to Ph.D. videos? Maybe nobody would have saw it. And, I saw it and it inspired me. So I was like, you know what? It's time. It's time to get with it and just do it. So look, taking a deep dive into who you are today, where do you think you'll be in the next 5 years?
Well, I mean, hopefully I'd be finished with my PhD program.
If you don't take no breaks.
If I don't take no breaks, I gotta say, I don't necessarily see myself as, graduating and, just kind of ditching the job I'm currently at and becoming a psychologist. That wasn't really the intent of this. Right now I'm working on a book, and right now I'm working at a job that I love, right? And the job that I'm at now allows me the freedom to be able to kind of experiment with my leadership style. It gives me a lot of freedom, and it doesn't really get in the way of the goals that I have towards my self-actualization. So when I look at myself 5 years from now, I'm hoping that I'm still with the same organization, but being able to put the things that I've learned in my PhD journey to use. I'm glad that you felt motivated by the videos. Those videos also help motivate me, and hearing the feedback coming back from people like yourself is motivating as well. And I gotta say that going through the journey, every class, I'm able to pick something out and kind of apply it to what I'm doing, not from a practitioner standpoint, but from the standpoint of how I'm reshaping my thoughts, reshaping my perception, and how I engage people, and how I like the attitude I have towards my organization. 5 years from now, I'm hoping that I'm probably that I'm going to be in a position of influence to where I can kind of restructure some of how our work-life balance is at our jobs, right? I also hope to have my book, one or two or maybe 3 books published by then, to where people will start to look at people. I'll be doing speaking engagements where people will start to be looking at, well, is a 40-hour work week still practical in today's day and age? With the advancement of technology and things like that, we can be giving people, we can accomplish just as much in a 30-hour work week as we do in a 40-hour work week. Are we contributing enough to our kids and our families and things like that? That's 10 hours we can give back, right? I'm thinking about the practicality or the practicality or that organizations will look at, saying, is Monday through Friday really a schedule? So 5 years from now, I'm looking at maybe trying to make my organization pilot some of those programs, or being able to set some of those experiments in motion to see how it affects our organization, our culture. So that way I can kind of apply that in some way, shape, or form in podcasts or books or something like that, where people will start to look at where I'm at as an example and say, if they're doing it, sort of like how they do with Google, they're doing that, we should probably try that as well.
Right. Have you ever thought about starting your own business?
I actually have had a few of my own businesses. Melodic Effects Entertainment was my very first business. I started that when I was 14 years old. I was just DJing and stuff like that. And I've
thought about. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I said, I'm sorry, that playback was trying to come through.
Oh, it's okay.
But as I think about my transition, I am ready to start my own business. Well, I have started my own business, and I think about it every day, how I want to make a change in the world, make a change in a group that I can make an impact on. So I've chosen to make an impact on veterans, women and female veterans, as they exit the military. I want to tackle how to start their own entrepreneurship journey, how to start their own nonprofit. I want to eventually establish Lens of Faith leadership consulting firm. That's my goal after I complete my PhD. That's where I want to go. I want to offer a robust educational platform that assists veterans in starting their own businesses or starting their own nonprofits. And I absolutely am in love with this, with leadership. And when I went through my master's, I mastered the program, literally. So I thank God for giving me the platform of the Army to help me develop my leadership skills. And I'm ready. I'm ready to run full steam ahead. And I thank you, because your videos actually helped me push the button, because I didn't think I was ready. And I was like, it kept telling me, my mind kept telling me, why not? Why aren't you ready? You just completed your master's, you're hot and heavy, everything is fresh in your mind, just keep going. And I was like, do I have time for this? I don't know. But maybe so. Maybe I do have time for it. And you know what? In my letter of intent, I had to outline the time that I would dedicate to my program. Did you have to do that as well before you joined Capella University?
Absolutely. It's funny how the PhD classes, right? I feel like that the bachelor's degree was very difficult. And then master's degree, my first master's was hard too. Then my second master's degree, I wasn't relying on that as much for my career. So, went a little bit smoother. And then I had a whole lot of anxiety when it came time to do my PhD program. And then I had to write this letter of intent. That forced me to really sit down and think about why I wanted this PhD, because at first it was I knew that I was going to learn some research concepts that I needed, that were going to be necessary. And then I also knew that I was going to be called Dr. McCray once I finished it. I had to write that letter of intent. And when I wrote it, when I first started thinking about the PhD program, I wasn't ready yet, because I didn't have that understanding of why I wanted it. It wasn't tangible just yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg, because I think maybe in forcing myself to write that letter of intent, I made myself think about it more clearly, what I wanted to get out of it.
Absolutely. As I sat there reading my letter of intent, I was like, Lord, what is my intent? And then it brought to the forefront of my mind my vision, my dream. What am I working towards? What problem am I going to solve when I complete my journey? And I see it, clear as day. Veterans need assistance beyond what the VA gives, beyond what DAV gives, So I want to be that person that starts a leadership platform that, is intense, and it helps walk veterans through from beginning to the end of how to stand up their businesses, walk by faith, and just display their talent, do what it is God called them to do, for real.
Right.
We all have, said we went, become service members, but what do you do when you exit the service? A lot of people don't do nothing and they wither away, but they have talent inside of them, raw talent that, eventually goes to a casket and is buried 6 feet under, or, turned to dust.
That's right.
But I want to be that person to bring it out of them. What do you have inside of you that the world needs to see? That is the intent of Lens of Faith Consulting Firm that's coming very soon. And by the grace of God, it's going to be sooner than later.
That's beautiful.
By the grace of God. So let's talk about being a leader. Why do you feel it's important for individuals to grow when you're talking about being a leader?
I think that we all, as human beings, right? We all have this desire to create and to have this autonomy within us, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you're not growing and if you're not kind of moving up that hierarchy of your needs, right? Like if you're not growing, it's almost like you're handcuffed. You don't feel free. You're not living an authentic life. When you don't live an authentic life, you're kind of creating, you're wearing a mask, you're stressing yourself, right? You're creating a lot of stress for yourself. I think that, I'm trying to really find my words here. I just think that it's just one of those things that's within us, inside of us, that as our perception of the world changes, as we intake experiences, we really have no choice but to take the experiences we learn to say, hey, don't do that no more. Hey, remember last time you had a chance to do that? Well, now's your chance again. Go get it. Right. I think that that's all a part of the growth process, and that's what allows us to explore as human beings, and that's what allows us to develop ourselves and to grow and to be, like I said, creative and innovative as well.
Absolutely. And when you're talking about growth, a lot of people, they're set in their ways, so to speak. And when you think about people that say, oh, I'm set in my ways, I ain't doing nothing different, this is all I know. Well, when you grow, you learn something different. And life is taking us on a journey. Some things are not the same as 1970. This is 2018. So when you talk about growth, how far have you come? What have you learned? What have you contributed? What have you given to society, to your family, to your job? And a lot of people wonder why they're not growing. Well, it's because they haven't mastered where they are. Once you are comfortable with where you are, it's time to move out of that comfort zone, grow, and progress with life. Life goes on. You got to keep moving. And that's what I thought about as I finished high school and said, oh, I ain't going to get no bachelor's degree. I'm tired of school. Well, I joined the military, and guess what? I grew in the military through leadership. I grew up the ranks and became strong in leadership, being a leader, being a servant leader, because I give more than I take, so my intent is to serve all people. And when you think about that, that comes with growth, being willing to, selflessly serve others and cater to them.
9 o'clock.
Right.
So people need to really take a big look at the word grow, GROW, and really think about themselves and define who they really are and say, hey, have I grown? You can look yourself in the mirror every day and say, have I grown?
Yeah.
where did I come from? Where did I start? And where am I at today? That's important. I want to say thank you for all those that have joined the live line tonight. I'm feeling a little under the weather, so I apologize for not being in view all the time, but I am really a little bit under the weather, but I'm pushing through this tonight. If you are joining the replay, please hashtag replay. This is Thursday night at 8 with Lens of Faith. Tonight, we are talking about a journey to PhD. I'm interviewing Brandon James Talton McCray tonight, and he is talking about his journey to his PhD. So, think about 3 things that you want the listening audience to know about pursuing a higher education, not just a doctoral education, but education, period. Give me 3 things you want the listening audience to know.
3 things. Number 1, I would say that perhaps getting your first degree in higher education is going to be the most difficult because you're trying to learn some new habits, right? You're trying to, it's like when you start going to the gym, right? It's a little bit more mentally exhausting because you got to learn how to use the exercise equipment. You got to learn the different ways you can use that exercise equipment. All right. So it's very important to start to just when you first start going to higher education, just work on getting yourself to the gym, work on getting yourself to your desk, right? Do whatever you got to do. Put your double monitors up helps. Getting a beautiful keyboard and mouse combination helps, right? Find a way to get yourself to your desk, right? If you're doing online learning, find a way to get yourself to the school. Just build the habit out of that. That's number 1. Number 2, I know that there's a stigma that says that going to school isn't worth it, right? To that, I say it's crap, right? Don't listen to that. Going to school is definitely worth it, right? At the end of your diploma, whatever level, at the end of your course, whatever level it is, you're going to have exercised so many different aspects of your brain that you can use it for whatever it is that you want, because school is training your brain, right? And if you happen to have picked a major that's going to be monetary beneficial for you, or that's going to help you write the book that you want, then absolutely wonderful, right? But do not listen to the people that tell you it's not worth it and tells you that, because you got a school, you could be, because you went to school, you could have been doing this, and this, because it's crap, right? Don't listen to it. And number 3, you got to remember to have fun when you're pursuing your degree. Again, I tell my story that, when I was going through to get my bachelor's degree, all I can think about was trying to do the assignments exactly correct, trying to get my assignments in perfect so I can prove to my instructor, so I could prove to other students how great I was with academia. I wanted to show you, I know this stuff, right? As I moved into my master's degree, my first one, again, it was difficult because I was trying to prove, I know this. Graduated with like a 3.8 or something like that, right? My second master's, I graduated with 3.95 or something like that, but I was having fun with it, right? And I didn't realize that the level of effort I was going back trying to make everything perfect, that wasn't really doing anything for my brain. What was doing stuff for my brain was kind of getting my ideas out there, was going through the research and stuff like that. I started having fun with it when I started creating blogs for LinkedIn, because I would say, hey, I got these discussion questions this week. Let me go ahead and make a blog for my LinkedIn because I want to work on my personal branding. I want to show these recruiters. I'd rather show the recruiters that I know what I'm talking about than show my instructor that I know what I'm talking about. So I kind of found ways to have fun with it. I engaged my discussion questions like I would engage my blog. And so my discussion questions kind of stood out a lot different than the scholarly writing of Abraham Maslow said this, and this. I got to jump out at people and be fun and use my slang, jargon, and whatever the case. And I still got the grades that I thought I'd be missing out on my first degree. Even better.
Wow. So when I think about 3 things, that I want the listening audience to pursue in a higher education, 3 words come to my mind. Dedication is number one. You have to be dedicated to something in order to pursue it, number one, and then complete it. Also think about commitment. There has to be a commitment to your journey in order for you to be interested in it, number one, and enable yourself to complete the journey, because a lot of people start something but they don't finish. Having that commitment, dedication, and my last word really, is the desire. So dedication, commitment, and a desire. If you desire something, you seek God for it. If it's for you, you're gonna get it, most definitely. But you have to be dedicated, you have to be committed, and you have to have that desire, that burning fire in your soul to say, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do it. Because I gotta tell you, at first, when I started my master's program, I was like, I'm just gonna do it because everybody was rallying around me saying, you'll be perfect at it, you'll do good, you'll do this. Everybody else was seeing that, but I'm like, I don't feel like doing school no more. But guess what? God made a way to separate me from the chaos that was going on, and I was able to get it done. Chaos free. God made a way for me to be still and get that master's degree done, because I fought against it at first. But that was the will of God for me to do that. And now with this doctoral degree, I am so hell bent on being successful, being a millionaire. I have a millionaire mindset. So with that mindset, I know that I want to do great things. I know I want to make an impact for the kingdom of God. I know that I can do it. I'm committed to my destiny, because destiny awaits us all. And if we sit on our butts and we don't do anything and we become comfortable with where we're at, we never grow. So it is very, very important for people to grow. I don't care how old you are, you can grow. You can grow. If it's your desire to get up out of the bed every day, you can grow, So, Brandon, with that being said, what is your journey so far revealed to you about being a man, being a leader, and a future doctor of psychology?
I'm learning right now, or over the past few years, really, or months to years, 18 months or so. I've been learning that I really don't know everything, right? Like you know that there's things that you know, then there's things that you don't know, and then there's like this whole other world of everything else, right? I recently bought a telescope, right? This is a part of my childhood dream of being an astronaut. I bought a telescope, and I often look at the moon. I was looking at Mars when it was close to the Earth, and what it does is it really brings me back to. It really aligns me of where my place is in the world. It puts me back in check sometimes, right? The Earth is estimated to be about 4.5 billion years old, and the universe is 13.8 billion years old. I'm only 33 years old, right? Also, if you follow that type of thing, superstring theory claims that there's 10 dimensions within our universe, right? But we only live in 4 dimensions, right? The 3 spatial dimensions of X, Y, and Z, and the dimension of time, right? And so there's just so much more to discover and apply. And personally, I just need a piece of that action before I leave Earth. So So something that I know about myself now is that I'm no longer motivated by money. I'm more motivated by the pursuit of self-actualization, where I can create, make significant contributions towards humanity. And, that changes my perspective of humanity as a whole, right? When I look at my degree towards IO psychology, that deals with third force psychology, which is humanistic psychology, right? And that begins with this assumption that people have free will, right? We get to make our own choices, for better or for worse, however difficult they are. We get to make our own choices, and nothing has to be you don't have to stay in the situation that you're in, right? You got to make choices to get out of there, good or bad, right? Also that I now walk along this earth with the understanding that human beings are basically good natured and have an innate ability to make themselves and the world better, right? So when we talk about growth, that's an innate ability that human nature just actually needs, right? That's something that's within all of us, is the desire to grow. And we get frustrated and we trigger emergency responses when we feel like we're not growing. And those emergency responses are jealousy and envy. You see somebody on Instagram and you're saying, hey, I need to be like that. I need to be like that. Well, yeah, don't let those head tricks fool you into making poor decisions.
Let's talk about that for a second. What impact does social media have in the psychology world? Tell us about that real quick. What's your view on that?
Our world is based off of a subjective and conscious experience, right, of ourself and of individuals. So if I look at you and I say, oh man, she's doing great, she got this podcast, she's gonna retire and all this stuff, man, I wish that was me. I wish I could have did that. Right? Social media has opened it up to where instead of having to go to a bar and see somebody for an hour or 2 hours, something like that, you can see what they're doing. They may not have dressed that good that day. But now you get the perception that you're looking into the life of not one person, not 100 people, but maybe 1,000 people. You get to see DJ Khaled with his son. You get to see Jay-Z and Beyonce out there, and you say power couple goals and stuff like that. And you don't really have an understanding because it's not shown to everybody the stuff that goes on in the background. You don't see how that person is either just like you and made a series of choices that you can be there too. And you don't see that B, that person is not as happy as you think they are, So social media is playing it plays a big role because not only does it show you what's possible, not only does it bring you direct to consumer for the things that you want to accomplish, if you want to write your book and put it out there and stuff like that, but it also kind of skews your perception of the world. It makes you feel like that you're not growing as fast as you should be growing because everybody else looks like they're growing from yesterday. Everybody else looks like they took off yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, social media these days, everybody wants stuff right now. They want to be able to communicate right now. This is the right now era. If you can't get it right now, then you don't want it. The hell with it. That's what a lot of people are saying, and I think about that in the psychology realm as we've lost meaningful conversation time. We've lost face-to-face time. We've lost the ability to effectively communicate with one another because everything has to be via text message, a quick FaceTime. But where has the time gone where we sit down at the table and have a conversation?
Yeah.
Where does that time go? So, with my children, when I'm at home, there's no cell phones allowed at the table. There's no earbuds allowed at the table because nowadays your kids, they walk around with these cell phones and the earbuds. They can't hear nothing because they're listening to what's in their ears, and we have to be careful of what enters our ear gates.
Yeah.
I'm very conscious of what enters my ear gates now. I didn't have that ability 2 years ago because I didn't really care about what entered my ear gates. I'm just listening to everything. But now that I have become closer with God and I meditate on his word night and day, I know better to allow negativity to enter my ear gate. So I'm very careful with that. And now I'm trying to train my children to do the same thing. But this music, the social media, all of it has just gone haywire, So I'm interested in knowing what are psychologists thinking about social media? How are they going to fix social media? Is that a question that you've come across in the psychology realm since you started?
Not necessarily how do we fix social media. I think it's more or less how do we fix ourselves so that way we can be the people that we aspire to be despite social media and other influences. See, humanistic psychologists, they argue that the objective reality is less important than a person's subjective perception and understanding of the world, right? So it doesn't matter what is in the world. It matters how I'm going to take that energy, that information, and turn it into perceptions, which are going to trigger my behavior, right? In the realm of psychology that I study in my school of thought, the humanistic school of thought, this approach is called phenomenology, right? And it means that, you know, when we study people, we study how we're going to make the world better. We study it from the perspective or the point of view of the individual subject rather than from the lens of ourselves, right? I have to really take into consideration how you're perceiving the world, how you're looking at that. This isn't, humanistic psychology isn't about fixing, necessarily trying to fix people, right? Or trying to make people less ill. It's about how to improve people that are already going about their life. It's how to improve the conditions and how we think. When I started going to church, like every Sunday, it changed my perspective on a lot of things. It reinforced a lot of positive thoughts.
When did you start going to church on a regular basis?
I started going to church on a regular at the beginning of the year. It was basically a part of my resolution, right? And I started.
I mean, it's never too late to start going to church. You know, whatever you do to connect with God is, you know, to me, an awesome experience. I never knew how powerful it was until I took a deep dive into who I really am, look myself in the mirror, do my affirmations, and confirm who God said I am through the promises of God.
Yeah.
Because I want all God has for me. And if I settle for less, then I'm not fulfilling my destiny. Absolutely. Because I know God got more in store for me. And he has more in store for you. He has more in store for the viewers that's watching. But we have to really, you know, digest who we are, where we're supposed to go. What is our talent, our God-given gift? Are we using our God-given gift? That's a question that we have to ask ourselves. Have you ever asked yourself, what's your God-given gift?
Yes, I have. And that's a part of self-acceptance.
Did I lose you?
No, can you hear me?
Brandon.
Hello? Can you hear me?
So I think I may have lost him.
No. Hello?
Brandon.
Wait, let me see something.
I think I may have lost him. I'm gonna wait till he comes back on the line for a second. So we're discussing see, he's frozen. I can't hear him. We are discussing you know, your God-given talent. So I'm trying to figure out, have you, as the listening audience, ever realized what your God-given talent is? You know, have you ever taken a deep dive into who you really are? Have you? Try it. Ask yourself who you really are and see if you're okay with who you are. If you're not, talk to God about it. I guarantee you he'll help you figure it out. So we have Brandon back on the line.
All right. I'm back.
Yeah, you were frozen for a second. So we're almost done with the live here. But before I let you go, I want you to leave the audience with 3 powerful words that have helped you stay focused on your journey to your PhD.
3 powerful words. I would say believe, fun, and create, right? Believe is, you know, believe that there's something out there that is for you, right? God didn't put us on this earth for no reason. Everybody has this innate ability to create, innovate, be the person that they are expected to be. And I truly believe that everybody has good in them, right? The basic human nature is innately good. It's when our needs are affected that triggers emergency responses, right? If I can't sleep long enough, you know, that's a basic need. If I can't sleep long enough, I can't worry about going to work. You know, if I can't make the money I need, I can't worry about, you know, the next element of my ego and stuff like that, right? Or my safety. So it goes kind of like in a hierarchy. And at the end of that hierarchy is the desire to be what God wants us to be. So you got to believe that that's there. You got to believe that you can do it. You got to believe that even if you're not clear on how it's going to happen, that once you start, things are going to move out of the way, and there's going to be phenomena that happen that allows you to be what God wants you to be, right? Having fun. When you're going to pursue your PhD or any degree, make sure you have fun with it, because, you know, find something that you already like and go all in. Don't go through your degree thinking that you got to be like the nutty professor, or you got to be the next Einstein or anything like that. Do Facebook live shows, do a podcast, write articles. You are a work in progress. Understand you're a work in progress. Don't look at everybody else and think that they're perfect, because they're not. So just have fun and be the person that you are. And lastly is create, right? At the end of the day, we're all creative beings. We have to be what we are. And the more authentic we are, the easier life gets. So again, create the blog, the radio show, find yourself some funny routines that's going to get you through your studies. Find a way to make learning points pop out at you. You know, just share the world who you are, because you are a gift. You're a gift from God. And the more you share of your authentic self, your best authentic self, the more other people are going to gain from it, and the better that this world is going to be. And you're going to find that you're going to find yourself very happy when you give yourself that chance to create.
Amen. I agree with those three powerful words. No, there are people that actually know what a PhD is. Can you explain that real quick before I let you go?
Sure. To me, at first I thought a PhD was a license to be creative and scholarly work and research, right? But it's not that. Well, it's that. It's partially right, but a PhD is one of those essential parts of the knowledge economy, right? It's about designing studies and creating fresh knowledge, right? It's a lot different than what it is as a master's. You know, you would think I used to think that a PhD is just more of the same when it comes to associates, bachelor's, master's, but it's not. It's something that allows you to focus your energies on ethical research, how to contribute to the body of knowledge that is humanities or science, or, you know, the arts, or you know, things like that. It's, you know, with a PhD, it really only takes one person to make a difference, because you're creating data, you're creating original, fresh knowledge. Yeah.
So it's a different world, as a matter of fact. And what was your why behind, you know, starting your PhD, wanting your PhD? Why did you do it?
With my master's, right, I got like the job that I wanted. I got the income I wanted, and I just felt like something was missing. I felt like I was put on this earth to do something better, right? To do something greater. I always wanted to write my book, but I felt like that in writing my book, I was gonna base it off of just my personal experiences. And I want my book to be an impact. I want my book to be like How to Win Friends and Influence People, right? Or, you know, the books that make people read it and they feel inspired and they feel like, I'm gonna go out there and be the best me I can be. And I felt like in order to do that, I had to understand what that process is like for everybody, right? I have to understand more than just from my own personal experience. I have to do it from a standpoint where it's ethical. I want to put the best information that I can possibly into my book. So it's got to be ethical. It's got to be based off of research, not pseudoscience, not just my own account of events that happened to me and the people I know, but I want to make sure that the proper controls are in place so I can deliver the best work I can. Other aspects is the fact that, you know, I've studied for a lot of certifications. Project management professional is a certification that I probably use the most, and I want to contribute to that body of work as well. I want to create better theories or more theories that Abraham Maslow and Carl Rogers left behind, they left notes stating that, hey, more research is needed in these areas of worker motivation. And I feel like that somewhere in the 1940s and 1970s or so, we kind of lost touch with, we just think that's it. And it's just so much more we can do there to help improve our lives. And I feel like I truly believe that God has called me for a greater purpose, and it's to understand how humans are motivated, how humans perceive themselves, and for me to deliver work and content and create information that people can use to help strengthen their selves and thus strengthen humanity.
Amen. That was a powerful answer. Thank you for that. And if there are any questions for Brandon, please put your question in the comments and he'll get to it. I don't see any questions at this time, but if you catch in the replay, please hashtag replay, and I will be more than happy to get an answer for your question if you jump in on the replay. So that just about sums it up for tonight's journey to PhD. I thank you so much, Brandon J.T. McCray, for joining me tonight on this topic that's near and dear to my heart. God bless you on your journey, and I will be following you. So just know you might end up seeing some of my own videos pop up there, and let's do it. Let's do it. I'm gonna encourage you on your journey, and I need encouragement as well. So keep me in the back of your mind as you go through your journey.
God bless you, Battle. Thank you so much.
So stay right there for me. Don't move.
All right.
Thank you so much for being on the show today. I would like to thank all my followers and listeners for tuning in to today's show. You have been listening to Walking in Your Purpose, Thursday night at 8 with Lens of Faith. Connect with me now. I want to hear from you. Please like, share, and follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Lens of Faith Speaks. God bless.